Meta's in hot water over hiding VR dangers. WhatsApp's security chief spills shocking secrets in a new lawsuit. And Apple devices are now running powerful AI completely offline. Kitty AI here with today's absolutely mind-blowing AI news. You won't believe what we've uncovered today. Welcome back to Kitty AI Daily, your go-to source for all the latest in artificial intelligence news that's shaking up our world. I'm your host, Kitty, and today we've got 3 explosive stories that you need to know about. All right, let's dive into today's first blockbuster story. Hold on to your headsets, folks, because this story is absolutely incredible. Current and former Meta employees have just dropped a bombshell on Congress, alleging that Meta systematically suppressed internal research on child safety risks in their virtual reality platforms. And let me tell you, the details are shocking. According to thousands of pages of internal documents submitted to Congress, whistleblowers like Jason Satizan and Casey Savage claim that Meta's leadership actively manipulated or even erased research findings that showed just how dangerous their VR platforms can be for kids. Can you believe that? But here's where it gets really crazy. Internal guidance from Meta's legal team reportedly instructed researchers to avoid collecting data on children's use of VR devices. Why? Because of regulatory and reputational risks. Instead of protecting kids, they were protecting their bottom line. And the real-world harm? It's absolutely heartbreaking. Researchers documented cases where children under 10 were sexually propositioned in VR environments. In one horrifying instance, a German mother had no idea her sons were interacting with strangers, and her younger son was actually propositioned by adults. That's not all. There are criminal cases where adults used Meta's VR platforms to contact and exploit minors, leading to arrests and convictions. A 48-year-old sex offender in Michigan used Meta's headset to contact a 9-year-old girl. And in Utah, a 25-year-old man abducted a 13-year-old after meeting her via VR chat. These are not just statistics. These are real children whose lives were put at risk. Meta even had secret projects like Project Salsa for tween accounts and Project Horton for age verification, but kept them hush-hush, requiring employees to sign legal disclosures and mark documents as privileged. Why all the secrecy if they have nothing to hide? Now, what does Meta have to say about all this? Well, spokesperson Danny Lever claims these allegations are based on selective examples and don't reflect Meta's broader commitment to safety. They say they've approved nearly 180 studies on youth safety since 2022 and implemented new parental supervision tools. They also maintain that their VR headsets are intended for users age 13 and older. But let's be real here. If their headsets are for 13 and up, why were they studying younger kids at all? And why suppress research that could have made these platforms safer? This story is far from over, too. These whistleblowers are scheduled to testify before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Subcommittee in a hearing titled Hidden Harms: Examining Whistleblower Allegations That Meta Buried Child Safety Research. You can bet we'll be following that closely. Now let's talk about our second bombshell story today, and it's another one involving Meta. Ataullah Baig, who was the head of security at WhatsApp from 2021 to 2025, has just filed a federal lawsuit against Meta, and the allegations are absolutely jaw-dropping. Baig claims that Meta ignored critical security flaws and allowed widespread internal access to sensitive user data. But wait, it gets even more shocking. He alleges that about 1,500 WhatsApp engineers had unrestricted access to user data, including your contact information, IP addresses, and profile photos, without proper oversight, detection, or audit trails. Think about that for a second. That's 1,500 people who could potentially access your private information without any record of them doing so. How does that make you feel? But here's where it gets really concerning. These practices allegedly violated a 2020 U.S. government order that imposed a $5 billion penalty on Meta after the Cambridge Analytica scandal. This consent order is supposed to remain in effect until 2040, yet Baig claims Meta was flouting it just a year later. Baig says he discovered these systemic failures back in 2021 and repeatedly reported them to senior executives, including WhatsApp head Will Cathcart and even Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg himself. But according to the lawsuit, his concerns were completely ignored. And when he kept pushing, Baig alleges he faced escalating retaliation, negative performance reviews, verbal warnings, and ultimately termination in February 2025 for poor performance. Sound familiar? It's a classic case of shooting the messenger. The lawsuit also claims that WhatsApp lacked a 24/7 security operations center, which is pretty shocking for a platform with billions of users. Baig alleges that around 100,000 users daily suffered account takeovers. That's not a small problem. That's a massive security failure. Even worse, Baig claims that WhatsApp employed far fewer security engineers than comparable companies, and that Meta actually blocked the implementation of security features intended to address these account takeovers, prioritizing user growth over security. Growth over security. Let that sink in. The complaint cites potential violations of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act and SEC rules regarding internal controls and shareholder fraud, in addition to the FTC consent order. This is serious stuff with potentially massive legal implications. So what's Meta's response? As you might expect, they're denying everything. WhatsApp VP of Communications. Carl Woog characterizes Baig as a disgruntled former employee, dismissed for poor performance, and accuses him of distorting facts. Meta asserts that it prioritizes privacy and security, pointing to ongoing investments and improvements. But let's look at the pattern here. Meta has faced repeated regulatory scrutiny and fines in recent years, including a $225 million fine from the Irish Data Protection Commission in 2021 and a $5.5 million fine in 2023. There was also a 2024 FTC report criticizing privacy practices across major social media platforms. This isn't an isolated incident, it's part of a pattern. Baig is seeking reinstatement, back pay, compensatory damages, and regulatory enforcement against Meta. This case is filed in federal court in San Francisco and is likely to attract significant regulatory attention, given Meta's ongoing consent decree and history of privacy violations. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on this one. All right, let's switch gears to some exciting and positive technology news. After those two concerning stories about Meta, I'm thrilled to tell you about Neuron AI, a mind-blowing new application that's changing the game when it comes to privacy and AI. Neuron AI is a 100% on-device AI assistant that lets you run large language models entirely offline on your Apple devices. That's right, no internet connection required. You can literally enable airplane mode and continue using the AI assistant, demonstrating that absolutely no data is sent to external servers. How incredible is that? The app uses open-source models from Hugging Face, which are converted to the MLX format to run efficiently on Apple hardware. The developer emphasizes that recent improvements in model efficiency and Apple's hardware capabilities, like the unified memory architecture in Apple Silicon, now make it feasible to run powerful LLMs directly on mobile devices. Neuron AI is positioned as a privacy-first solution, with absolutely no user data collection or cloud-based processing. In an age where our data is constantly being harvested and monetized, this is absolutely revolutionary. But Neuron AI isn't operating in a vacuum. It's part of Apple's broader push into on-device AI. Apple is integrating on-device AI capabilities into iOS 18 and macOS 15, with a strong focus on privacy and offline processing. Their in-house LLM, codenamed Ajax, is expected to power features that don't require an internet connection, further validating this trend toward on-device AI. Apple's MLX framework and Metal APIs allow developers to run and optimize machine learning models, including LLMs, directly on Apple Silicon devices. These frameworks support efficient parallel processing and memory management, making it possible to deploy advanced models on consumer hardware. This is the kind of innovation that really gets me excited. Neuron AI is also part of a growing ecosystem of offline AI assistants for Apple devices. Apps like Offline AI and Survivalist AI also offer on-device LLMs, supporting various open-source models like Tiny Llama, Phi 3, Mistral 8B, and Llama 3. They all emphasize privacy and offline functionality, which seems to be becoming a major selling point as users become more concerned about their data privacy. The gap between open-source and proprietary LLMs is narrowing, with smaller, more efficient models now capable of running on mobile devices without significant performance trade-offs. This is absolutely incredible for the future of AI accessibility. Of course, these offline AI apps typically require newer Apple devices like iPhone 12 or later, and iPads with 16GB RAM for larger models to ensure smooth performance. But as Apple continues to advance its hardware capabilities, we can expect these requirements to become less restrictive over time. The fact that we can now run sophisticated language models on devices we carry in our pockets is absolutely mind-blowing when you think about it. Just a few years ago, this would have been impossible, and it's only going to get better from here. Wow, what an incredible day in AI news. These stories highlight both the risks and rewards of our rapidly advancing AI landscape. On one hand, we see major tech companies potentially prioritizing profits over safety and security. On the other hand, we see innovative new technologies that put privacy and user control front and center. What do you think about these stories? Are you concerned about Meta's handling of child safety in VR? Do you use WhatsApp and worry about your data security? And are you excited to try out on-device AI like Neuron AI? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this information valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to Kitty AI Daily for all the latest AI news. We bring you the most important developments in the world of artificial intelligence. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you know someone who would be interested in these stories, please share this video with them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow with more mind-blowing AI news. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe out there. Peace out.